Alright, let's get started. Let's just jump straight into it as we always do.
Hey, Nagisa. You figure out who all's in your group?
My what?
It's mine and Isogai's job to keep track of who's with who, so let one of us know.
You look confused. She's talking about next week's trip.
Of all the... Who in their right mind schedules a class trip this early in the year? Unbelievable!
I cannot say that I approve.
Then why are you dressed like that?
Geisha, really?
It's actually kind of hot.
Guilty as charged. Yes, all right, I'll admit it. I'm as excited about this excursion as you.
First midterms and now a class trip. We have a pretty full calendar. I mean, for assassins at least.
Okay, seriously, I find it difficult to believe that this guy's actually going to want to destroy the planet. I reckon he'd miss it too much. Let's face it, he enjoys being alive too much. There's no chance in hell he wants to destroy the world. Like, why would he? Okay, I just realized two quick little things. One, when that new redhead kid joined the class, he actually cut up one of the knives or the pellets or something, put it on his hand. So they saw very quickly that they don't need a large quantity of that green stuff in order to kill him. So why they're always bothering using them as knives and stuff, they really need to start, like, thinking outside the box. They should be lacing tables and everyday shit with that stuff that he might accidentally bump into or something. You know what I mean? Like, they really need to get outside of that mindset. And a second one, you actually see the paper being cut in half. The really cool thing about that is, if you're able to cut paper in such a clean way, it means you've got excellent, one, sharpness of a blade, and two, technique. Because if you put too much weight and you don't actually move the blade, it's gonna break the paper, not slice it. And it's one of those things that you actually do in martial art class, where you actually perform a kick and your whole objective is to cleanly slice the paper. Because if you actually knock the paper off, there's too much weight. It's not a nice slice snap action. Whereas if it's nice and snappy, all that weight and power is going on a very small point, which is actually what you want. Like a blade, that's what causes the damage. Not like a spread blunt hit like a hammer, but rather that very sharp, almost like a needle. That's what really causes heavy damage. But that's just, I like this. He might expect it, but you know.
Everyone's aware next week is our big overnight field trip to KYOTO, yeah? Well, not to put a damper on the fun, but you're still on the clock.
So, are we supposed to try to kill him there?
That is the idea. KYOTO is a very large city, a lot more cosmopolitan than this area. For your safety, you'll be touring in designated groups. Koro-sensei will...
I've actually gone to this place in Kyoto. I highly recommend it. It's a big walk all the way up the mountain. It's got a giant statue, and the whole place is being maintained by donations. It takes about an hour and a half to walk through the whole place, but it looks particularly beautiful in winter. Highly recommended you go to the temple. They're always upgrading, and it's made entirely out of wood. It's beautiful, and there's a big garden over here, and there's also fountains that you actually drink from. Highly recommended.
Is time between you. There are a lot of good sniper nests in the big city. We plan to have sharpshooters posted just about everywhere.
Yeah, you're gonna use that magnum. He's gonna hear it. Because the sound is traveling quicker than the bullets. You dumbass.
Lead your target into the crosshairs, and the reward money will be parsed out between you and the lucky marksman. So stick to the sniper-friendly routes and keep those eyes peeled.
Yes, sir.
What they would definitely need is a distraction. Something really, really loud that would mask the sound bullet. Plus, they need the suppressor, which would slow down the bullet velocity, but it would also... Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud.
So we're splitting up into groups, huh? Hey, Karma, do you want to be with us?
Count me in.
Oh my god,
behave
please
yourself,
do
right?
something.
No funny business, no getting into fights and all that stuff. Yeah, sure. Don't worry, dude. When I stir up trouble out of town, let's just say I know how to keep witnesses from reporting it.
Oh, great! And now he's part of our group! Way to go!
What can I say? We've been friends for a while.
So, who else? There's me, you, Sugino, Kayano, should be two more.
Yep, got it covered. Okada's in.
Still one shy. You think our number 6 should be a girl, too?
Yes.
No sweat. I foresaw this and took the liberty of enlisting someone very special. Ladies and gentlemen, Class Idol Kanzaki.
Oh, I'm totally for it.
Nice girl, Kanzaki. Doesn't exactly stand out in a crowd, but everyone in E-Class is nuts about her.
Give that girl a knife. Girls love knives.
Good addition to the group, I think.
Thank you for letting me join. I'm flattered.
Yeah.
Cool. So where in Kyoto do we want to go?
Good question.
Okay, seriously, her boobs are like, what the fuck?
You're all so cute.
You see, Karma's clever. There were 3 guys and 2 girls. That's a bad ratio. What you really need is 5 girls and 1 guy.
Excited to walk the city streets, boys and girls? Ah, so young and naive.
Yeah, well, you can just stay here, Professor Bitch.
You can water the plants while we're gone. Where should we go on day 2?
Yeah, not everyone works the streets, Miss Bitch.
I vote Higashiyama.
Remember, we have to think about assassination.
But there's so much cool stuff on this route.
Oh, no! If you bastards think you're gonna deal me out of this trip, think again!
What? You know, you're kind of giving us mixed signals here.
Oh, I'll show you mixed signals, Copper Top!
One for each of you.
What are those, sir?
They're field trip guidebooks.
What the hell? They're more like dictionaries.
Just a little something I threw together last night. Included are illustrations of every major tourist attraction, the top 100 local souvenirs and where to find them, travel self-defense techniques from basic to advanced. Oh, and best of all, the first edition comes with a model of Kinjakuji.
Okay, if you go to Kyoto, 1, you don't even have to get worried about being robbed because the place is super friendly. 2, you don't actually need to take public transport because Kyoto is small enough that I highly recommend you walk around the place. 3, I was actually walking around the place, went to a supermarket to buy a quarter chicken, well, I was actually half a chicken, because I was hungry and a big bottle. I sat right outside the store and I didn't even realize that that was where the Shogun's castle was. Highly recommend you check it out. It's really cool. It's got a beautiful garden. And 3... just literally walk around and explore whatever's nice. I mean, it's a new city. Explore it for fuck's sake. It's an adventure. You don't need everything planned out. Oh, and 4, highly recommend you go to the city area. You gotta do those izakaya bars at the back. There's a lot of girls that love foreigners because there's very few foreigners in Kyoto. You're basically gonna find a lot of girls that are really interested in foreigners to practice English. Highly recommended. Oh, and please don't look like a fucking tourist. You'll be like the only tourist there anyway. So just act natural.
You are way too excited about this trip.
Koro-sensei likes E-Class to be prepared. If the way things have been going lately is any indication, this is going to be an educational trip. I'm actually kind of stoked.
Whoa. Man, look at those lucky jerks getting a ride first class.
And as always, we're stuck in coach. Yay for us, right, guys?
Now, boys and girls, try not to look so sour. Rules are rules, you know how this works.
The student handbook states those of us with the highest grade point average get dibs on school funds.
Oh-ho! Is that the putrid stench of abject poverty filling my nostrils?
Pardon me, boys. Everyone having a glamorous day so far?
Professor Bitch, why are you dressed like the paparazzi should care who you are?
When it comes to womanly wiles, a femme fatale pulls out all the stops. Besides, travel is no excuse not to look devastatingly fashionable.
You stick out like a sore thumb. Go change. You're a chaperone, not a runway model.
Oh, come on, lighten up. What's wrong with a little style? These
You look like a Russian hooker.
kids are going to the city.
Shut up. Get changed now.
She's more of a child than we are.
Maybe killing rich dudes for a living disconnects you from reality. An excellent place to corner in.
Yeah.
Road to riches, freedom and wheel.
Video editor.
That's cool.
Huh. Has anybody seen Koro-sensei? Was he even at the train station?
Holy! Not to pry, but is there some reason you're stuck to the window?
I was stocking up on munchies at the terminal and lost track of time. It's all right. I'll just stay here till we reach the next stop. Cloaking engaged. Nothing to see here. Just some random clothes and luggage stuck to the side of a train.
Wait, he can go invisible? Oh, that is bullshit.
Worst camouflage ever.
Yeah, who knew traveling incognito would be so exhausting? Goodness me.
Might be a little easier if you didn't bring such a big suitcase.
No offense, but you weird people out as it is. And while we're on the subject, broadcasting that you're in disguise defeats the purpose. Truth? It's a lame disguise anyway. Nobody's buying it.
Hey, Koro-sensei, try these.
Please explain.
Can't have
Please
your nose going AWOL all the time, right?
Wow, a perfect fit.
custom carved to complement the contours of your face. You're welcome. It's whatever, just a little hobby of mine, no big.
Whoa, that's cool, Sugaya.
Isn't it awesome how when you travel together, you see a whole other side to people? Mm-hmm.
I traveled with one of my mates to Japan for 2 weeks, and I swear to God, if I'm ever forced to stay in the same room with him again, I will murder him. The guy snores like a motherfucker. I didn't get sleep for 3 days in a row. On the 4th day, I was like, dude, can you please sleep on your side? You're snoring. He's like, no, fuck off, dude. I'm like, I'm this far away from literally strangling you and disposing of your body. They will never find it. And so we started sleeping on his side. And he started getting night terrors. But, you know, it is what it is.
I don't know what we'll learn about each other on this trip, but I'm ready to be surprised.
Hey guys, I'm gonna make a run to the main car and get us some drinks. Anybody else feeling parched? Can I come with you, please? Me too! I love how space agent feels. Sorry. Excuse us.
Dude, that's a dick move.
What school do you suppose they're from?
Kunugigaoka. How do you like that? A train full of smarties from one of the best schools in the country.
Tell me another. Come on, her. She don't look smart.
Hey, I have an idea. Once we're in Kyoto, what do you say we have some fun with these dweebs?
Oh yeah, if I'm having a daughter, I am going to teach her how to fucking dissect guys. Beautiful thing is, if I have a daughter, she can get away with it. No chance in hell a court is going to find her guilty. Yes, there are advantages to having a daughter. Yes.
So, bullet trains actually give him motion sickness?
You'll probably feel better if you lay down in our room for a while.
Perhaps later. I need to pop back.
You don't need to. Oh, just thrust. Like, that's all you need. You don't need full force.
Back over to Tokyo for a moment first. Koro-sensei forgot his favorite pillow.
How is everything you own not in that bag?
Any luck? It's gotta be in there. You worked so hard on it, too.
I admire you going through the trouble of putting together an itinerary, Kanzaki. But if you can't locate it, don't fret. I have just a solution. These handy-dandy guidebooks contain everything you could possibly need.
She made the itinerary so we wouldn't have to lug those things around.
I distinctly remember putting it in my handbag. I wonder if I dropped it somewhere.
Oh, right. He bumped into you to pickpocket you. Gotcha.
So, tomorrow is your free study day in Kyoto. Everybody got that? Hey, shut your traps and listen for a second.
Those jerks from Kunugigaoka are really gonna try to squeeze all this sightseeing into one day?
I'm sorry, are these guys in a high school or are these guys in a street gang? I mean, I've heard of people repeating the same year multiple times, but this guy looks in his mid-20s. And seriously, he's got that long rat tail at the back? What is it, the 80s?
Nice spot. For assassination, I mean. Don't you think, Nagisa?
If the snipers can see it, sure.
What a bizarre field trip, right?
Maybe, but you gotta admit it's fun.
Whatever we do, we have to get green tea while Robbie Mochi dumplings. That's...
You see, I've heard of belts that have blades in them, but I know girls don't wear belts. What if I get those hairpins that act as blades? Or a necklace that has a blade? Ooh, 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 ooh. Or something that she can actually hide on her... Yes, that's where she could... Yes, no one can actually look perfect. Sorry, I'm just thinking of gifts for my future daughter.
It's a great idea. We could put poison in them. That's twisted! Not for us, silly. For Koro-sensei.
Right, poison. Lace it with rat poison. You know what happens with people that they get that in there? Good, good. She's gonna be deadly.
Not too shabby. We could take advantage of his sweet tooth.
That'd be a waste of a perfectly good local treat! Now, if only we could find a poison that didn't give him special powers.
Not to be that guy, but I gotta tell you, I was sort of hoping we could put the whole assassination thing on hold while we were here.
And what I'm gonna do is put a GPS tracker on the accessories of jewelry. You know why? You put one in the shoe, they'll probably find that. You can put one on the clothing, they might remove that. But jewelry, they'll probably try to sell, which means they'll keep it in their possession. So either I find my kid, or I find someone that knows where to get my kid. And then they answer to me. Fun for the whole family. Including theirs. Especially theirs.
We're in Kyoto, people. What do any of these sites have to do with assassination?
You'd be surprised.
Hold on, the Ryoma Sakamoto?
This is where Omiya used to be. The inn where Sakamoto was cut down by assassins in 1867.
That's right. And just a little further down is Honnoji Temple. Though it's moved a few times since they built it.
Oh yeah! Oda's death counts as an assassination!
Just think. In these few city blocks, a slew of high-profile assassinations went down. Sure, Kyoto's always been the heart of Japan, but it's also a mecca for professional killers.
I reckon that is Kyoto Tower, which is like, you know, the observatory part. If I'm correct, this is the Shogun's castle because it has a giant garden. It's partitioned sort of like this. Then you've got a few sort of like small estate castles here and there. And you've got pretty much... If I think of Kyoto like... Because I'm used to it literally being the other way. You've got like the city center, which is all the way on the end. And you've got... Because Kyoto is like a straight line away from Osaka. But Kyoto is surrounded by mountainside, which is why the Shogun liked it there. Because you can't just invade from anywhere. So you had Osaka, which was the main hub. Then he would move to Kyoto because it was easier to fortify.
I never thought of it that way. Guess you could say we're on an assassination vacation.
Throughout history, tons of targets have been neutralized here. Targets whose lives the world still feels the repercussions of. As far as that goes, Koro-sensei is definitely in good company.
Cool. Next up is Yasuka Shrine.
Mind if we take a break first? I could really go for some sugar-loaded Kyoto coffee right about now.
Yay, sugar!
I absolutely love how much attention they put into the little details. They're passing over the bridge that leads to this place, and they've got this, and they've got this in the background. It's actually crazy how close to the city it is. And this entire long strip is just original buildings from hundreds of years ago. It is absolutely beautiful. If you ever visit Japan, Kyoto is the place you have to go. That is Japan. Forget about Tokyo. Kyoto is like, that's the traditional part. It's beautiful. And I highly recommend like trying out the snacks and the food throughout the city and this main street hub. It's just, it's next level.
Talk about off the beaten path. Gion is a ghost town this far in. Yeah. Places like this put a cap on the number of visitors they allow, so you don't catch many people just wandering around. Secluded, lots of good hiding places. That's why I made sure to put it on the itinerary. It's ideal for assassination.
Oh,
Good job,
no.
Kanzaki. You really do your homework. I vote this is where we do the deed.
I did.
Wait, didn't she lose her itinerary? Oh, right, she's remember... Damn it.
Deal is right. It's also a great spot for kidnappers to ply their trade.
Wait, I'm sorry, how can you focus on people when your eyes are just fucked? And how do you see anything when your eyes are fucked? And don't you have, what's his name, Dio to help summon or something? Oh no, you've got them surrounded.
I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but...
Okay, if you're in a situation like this, I highly recommend that you engage the person in charge. Because in pack groups like this, typically everyone in the group is the coward, and the leader is the only one that has arrogance. Usually they don't have balls. Otherwise they wouldn't be in a pack like this, but typically they're the arrogant ones. The other motherfuckers won't do anything unless they have more numbers or the leader is nearby. They're typically cowards. So, if you pretty much take out the leader, or at the very least make him scream like a little girl, the other ones typically just either cower in a corner or run away. I've had it happen in Sydney a few times. Always go for the leader. If you have to kick him in the dick, kick him in the dick. It's a straight fight. There are no rules.
Something tells me you gentlemen aren't tourists.
Don't try to be a hero, Carrot Top. Hand over your lady friends and we'll... Oh!
You see that? What did I tell you? To hell with them. Without any witnesses, it's basically a free-for-all, so go nuts.
Hey!
I'm gonna cut you like a pig!
Strong words for a guy kissing the sidewalk.
Let go of me! Stop!
What did we tell you?
Leave him alone!
Bring the car around. Yeah, that's right. Don't mess with us, dweebs.
That was the leader. You went for the wrong guy.
They crawled out of the shadows like monsters. Only these thugs are something far worse than monsters. They're high schoolers.
High schoolers? High schoolers? Jesus.
Nagisa! Sugino! Oh, thank goodness. Are you two okay?
You alright, Okuda? Those guys didn't do anything to you, did they?
It's okay. I'm fine. Sorry, I didn't know what to do, so I just hid.
Don't
Oh wow, they didn't take the ugly one.
sweat it. You did the right thing.
Huh?
I think it's safe to assume those guys are pretty hardcore.
Excuse me, but why didn't you watch your back? Whatever.
We could go to the cops, except they're the type who know their way around the system, which is fine. 'Cause I'm the type who likes to handle these things personally, if you know what I mean.
Okay, stop talking. You gotta redeem yourself first before you open your mouth. 10 brownie points have been deducted.
Okay. Dude, how do we even find them?
Okay, we've got a few ways. If they have their cell phones with their GPS, you can probably track them through that. Find My Telephone app if they've got their laptop still at the inn. Other than that, if they have a smartwatch, if you can get your hands on their telecommunication provider, you can narrow it down to a 2-meter block radius. However, that is technically illegal in most countries, though you can get that. Other than that, you could try to track down who the uniforms are from, get access to the school yearbook, find who they are, and pay a visit to their parents' houses. The kids will eventually come home, or you can get their mummy dearest to call their kid home. Then once you have one of them, you can find out who the other ones are. Or, yeah, that's a pretty direct route. Yeah, that would usually work. They were wearing their school uniforms. Track down the school. There can't be too many school. Go for the parents. Get the parents to get the kid. Interrogate the kid. Find the rest of the pack. And, you know, the rest. Hello, Hachan. You brought me sushi. We're just discussing what we'll do if we have a daughter and someone kidnaps her. I'll give you a hint.
What?
It involves a cheese grater.
Okay, bye.
No. I get hungry thinking about that. I need some soy sauce, please.
You have 20 minutes.
I know I have 20 minutes. You know, I would feel tension, but the red-haired kid was not that. But seriously, never mind. He acted dumb. Yes, he did. Okay, I'll stop talking so we can finish the episode. Hachan is so cool. She brought me
I
sushi.
gave our buddies a call in their inn. We're gonna have ourselves a little commemorative photo shoot with you gals. Feel free to scream. No one will hear you except for us. You. I've seen you somewhere before, right? Sure I have. Last summer in Tokyo. Saw you in that arcade. Don't deny it. My boy spotted you first. Told me to be on the lookout for a party girl. We was gonna kidnap you then, but I guess you lucked out and gave us the slip. Who'd have thought you were gonna go to the school for geniuses? No judgment, though. I get it. The higher you are on the ladder, the more you want to take a swan dive. Don't worry about a thing. Professor Ruin's gonna take all night teaching you to dive like a pro.
That's my biggest fear, having a daughter. That she turns out like that. There's a tendency to let your guard down while traveling. Stay well aware of your surroundings to prevent being carried off by a baddie. I'm the exact opposite. I'm hyper aware when I'm traveling.
When a group member has been abducted? I'll just say it. What kind of guidebook covers this stuff?
The sort of guidebook an insanely thorough teacher writes, apparently. There's even a section on how to deal with seeing overpriced Kyoto souvenirs for cheap in boutique shops back home.
It's like he's walking us through every possible scenario.
Cheering up your lonely self after seeing a lovey-dovey couple, specifically on the banks of the Kamo River.
Tell yourself you're a member of the high-end aristocracy who hid their love affairs from the public eye. Now there's something unusual about you being all alone. What the?
That's not even a thing!
Well, at least reading this calmed us down. I, for one, feel pretty confident about what to do.
Excuse me, but your schoolmates are about to be raped by a gang of high schoolers. You feel calm about the situation?
So that picture... Not gonna lie, it's kind of comforting to know even you went through a phase. Never would have imagined.
A phase. You went through a phase. Oh God, please don't give me a daughter.
Yeah. My dad was crazy strict.
Oh, great! You got crazy strict, daddy issues, rebelling, wanting affirmation from a man. Oh, God damn it, it's always the same shit.
Always on me about doing well in school and building up my resume. It was so suffocating, you know? I just couldn't deal. So I ditched the uniform, glammed myself out, and hang where no one knew who I was. Felt like therapy. So stupid. Where did I expect to end up, right? It's E-class for me. But now I don't even know where I belong anymore.
Sounds to me like you'd be right at home with us. Grades and all that pointless bullshit don't mean jack here. We eat elitist scum for breakfast. Nothing sweeter than knocking stuffed shirts down a peg or two. The only thing that matters is having a little fun, right?
You're a jerk.
I see how it is. Little Miss Perfect thinks she's better than me. This is exactly what I'm talking about, you uppity bitch. When we're done here, you go back to whatever fancy hotel you're in and tell whoever asked that you were just out singing karaoke and lost track of time. Stick to that story and no one gets hurt. Once we're back in Tokyo, we can all hang out together. Maybe we'll scrapbook, do something artsy with the vacation photos we're about to take. Speak of the devil, my photographer buddies are here.
School Trip Guidebook, page 1043. What to do when a group member has been abducted. If there are no leads on the perpetrators, think back to any colloquialisms, accents, or linguistic quirks that might indicate whether said perpetrators are local. If not, and the perpetrators were wearing school uniforms, refer to page 1334. Here we are. If the perpetrators are in school uniforms, you might be dealing with a rival school out causing trouble.
You found us!
What the hell? How'd you even know where to look?
Being unfamiliar with the area, the culprits will opt to stay within a narrow perimeter after the initial kidnapping, somewhere secluded but not far from the scene of the crime. If this is the case, consult page 134. My Mach 20 bird's eye view map of popular and/or likely abductor hideouts may help.
That guidebook is straight up amazing. There's nothing Koro-sensei didn't think of.
No kidding, right? Definitely worth lugging around. We should take one with us everywhere.
You're getting all this from a guidebook?
All right. So what's it gonna be, gentlemen?
Please refer to page 469 on the pressure points on the human body and how to make incisions without hitting an artery. Fun in the sun.
Fight or flight. We'll go easy if you back down now, but after all you've put us through, you're not getting out of this unscathed. That's a promise.
Acting all badass. You junior high kids crack me up. Why don't you say hello to some friends of mine? See how far that attitude gets you with them.
Say hello to them if you like. Be advised, though, they probably won't hear you.
It's Koro-sensei!
Sorry I'm a little late to the festivities. I figured it'd be best to let you handle this on your own while I searched elsewhere, just to cover all the bases.
Sir, why exactly are you wearing a veil?
Violence is always regrettable. I'd rather you not associate my face with what I've just done, or what I'm about to do.
Koro-sensei's weak point number 10, worries about keeping up appearances. Oh, come on, let yourself go.
Good work following the instructions in the guidebook, Nagisa. I'm glad I had the foresight to provide them.
Hold on, this freakazoid's your teacher? That's the biggest load of bullshit I ever heard!
Such language. I'll thank you not to use it in front of my students.
I didn't even see what he just did.
And unless you can move faster than me, you'd be smart to keep your filthy hands off them too.
Wow, so even the teachers they hire at that damn school are special. Probably get off looking down on us like the other kids do. Well, look down on this!
I think you have the wrong impression. The school these boys and girls attend is special, yes. But they're considered the outcasts. Their class is the target of merciless scorn. Even so, bleak as their situation may seem, they stay commendably positive. Never would these children dream of pulling others down to their level out of spite. They're not privileged, they simply work hard. And there's the moral for you. As the old saying goes, in clear waters are murky, fortune favors the fish who swim upstream. Okay, boys and girls, let's take care of business. These misguided young rascals are in desperate need of a lesson in proper field trip etiquette. Wouldn't you agree?
How are they behind us all of a sudden? And what the hell did they just whack us upside the head with? You know, I'm starting to think we picked the wrong kids to mess with.
Yeah, but now they know which school you're from. Is it overkill to remove their eyes? I mean, half of their problems are caused by lust. Or maybe that's overkill. I don't know. You know what they do to prison? In prison to kids like this? Trust me, you don't want to be in prison for rape. An eye for an eye in prison, kids. An eye for an eye.
Man, for a while there, I didn't know what was gonna happen.
Should have just left me alone with the ringleader. I'd have taken out the trash before the bastard knew what hit
We
him.
get it, you're a scary dude.
I'm just glad we're okay. How you holding up, Kanzaki? You good? Sure, all things considered.
I must say, you're handling this quite well.
Huh?
Most folks would have been traumatized by what you just experienced. Yet you've shaken it off without batting an eye. In fact, I dare say the whole ordeal has empowered you.
What do you know? I guess it has. Thanks for coming to the rescue.
Don't mention it. Why don't we carry on with our field trip, boys and girls?
Oh, dang it. We never got to try out our assassination plan.
Well, it really isn't the time or place for that now.
Whatever. We'll just try it tomorrow.
Best of luck to you.
When your target is also an outstanding teacher, it's the definition of between a rock and a hard place.
See, that's the thing when it comes to crimes like that. Like, circumstantial crimes of violence where, you know, people start a fight amongst each other and beat each other up, I'm kind of like, well, you idiots are fighting each other. Or someone that's drunk that says something and gets in a fight, that's something else. But these kids are performing premeditated kidnapping with the intention to... That's on a different scale altogether. To me, that is not only predatory and disgusting, but it's also something wrong with the essence of the person. There's a difference between an impulsive, stupid action that could be emotionally and chemically fueled in the short term, and then there's going out of your way to premeditate and plan a kidnap as well as what you're going to do. You have ample opportunity to realize, hang on, there's something wrong with what I'm thinking, I probably shouldn't do this. Yet they decide to do it anyway. That's a fundamental flaw with their character. So I judge it far more harshly than, say, someone that gets into a stupid street fight because they're an idiot. I mean, if someone tried to do that to your kid in Serbia, the kid's parents would probably murder you. What the hell is this? That was a fun episode. It got dark, This series touches on a few fairly sensitive topics. Now that I think about it. It dealt with school bullying in the previous one, which is a very, very sensitive subject, especially for anyone that's gone through it. It's covering difficulties in upbringings and breakdown of family structure, and in this one, it's basically covered a very, very dark topic, which unfortunately exists. Am I overthinking this, or is this anime got a little bit of depth to it? I think I'm going to go to sleep. Yeah, we're basically wrapping it up in the next 5 minutes. We've hit 11 o'clock. Tried to, as much as I could, not discuss it, but it turns out that 42-minute episode took us 40 minutes to react to. Because, you know, all these stopping and reactions, but it is a reaction. I'd say it has depth. Kuro-sensei is a teacher. That is a good point. The anime is not only about him teaching his students, but also kind of, in a way, making us aware of things too. I really don't like the way the world is nowadays. All these issues are just... It's f***ed. I'd be scared to be a parent. As a bullying victim myself, I can confirm the anime does a good job in touching some hard subjects. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's a sore subject for a lot of people, and I know a lot of us that have ended up on the internet in particular did so due to our circumstances, because most kids that had a happy upbringing typically don't end up on the internet, right? It's a certain type of person that ends up on the internet, especially in our generation. And it's typically the ones that didn't have a fun time either at school or with friends or growing up, because the internet was our escape. It was our playground, because it's the only place where we could escape from society, our circumstances being whatever they were. So it's kind of the thing that ties us together. It's just mind-boggling how oblivious a lot of people in society are to the very issues that are right there just beneath the surface. How dare you predict my tragic backstory? I think the reason why we all get along is because we have our own tragic backstories. It's the glue that ties us all together. It's also what makes us wiser than the typical people. It's why we struggle to go along with the status quo, because we can actually think for ourselves. We've got some experiences. Whether or not they were positive isn't what really matters. We've learned to think. So Kuma, would you say that you're really enjoying this anime? I am enjoying it. I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm really getting into it. At the beginning, I was like, an octopus that destroyed the moon that's teaching a classroom? The fuck is this? I was like, oh, okay, these kids want to be assassins. Cool. And then it's wholesome in a way. These kids are down on their luck, a little like us, for whatever circumstances. Whether it be bad upbringing or lack of upbringing, or bad opportunity or lack of opportunity, or, you know, whatever it is. Kids are all born with a clean slate, right? They're a clean slate that's programmed by society and their parents, and they end up where they end up partially due to circumstance and chance and all these other things. So typically kids up to a certain point, they're not responsible for where they are. And then around, you know, high school, they're self-aware and they can start coming up with their own decisions, but those decisions and choices are based on the morality that was programmed into the kid. What Kuro-sensei is effectively doing is doing a hard reset on these kids that everyone else has typically tossed out. Their parents, as well as society and schools, have effectively abandoned them. They've put them in Class E in the middle of nowhere, where you pretty much throw social outcasts with absolutely no hope. But yeah, he's pretty much investing time and effort into kids who no one's really invested time or effort into. He's making them feel appreciated. He's giving them a place to belong, and is unifying them through the shared goal of assassinating him. So he's bringing together a class of highly dysfunctional outcasts, and effectively they're creating their own community and, in a sense, family structure, because they're no longer infighting amongst themselves and bullying each other, because they all have a unified goal, through necessity, obviously. I don't know. I find it difficult to believe that someone going through all this effort to protect a bunch of kids that society doesn't give a shit about would destroy the planet. I find that difficult to believe. And you could say, but he destroyed the moon. And, you know, being the anime universe, destroying the moon won't cause a gravitational distortion that will I mean, if you did that in real life and you just got rid of the moon, it would cause a lot of issues. But being an anime, destroying the moon probably does nothing, right? So what's the price? What is the true value of the moon in comparison to a classroom of kids with infinite potential? Can you put a price on that? No, you can't. It brings up a very, very... This anime has a lot of depth. The fact that society doesn't care about people who need help the most would make me want to destroy the planet if it was an anime villain, if I was an anime villain. Well, that's the thing I really like about anime villains. A lot of them aren't evil for evil's sake. That's a good villain. A good villain is one that you can understand the motives of. That's a good villain. A good villain is one that makes you question, is what he's doing or she's doing fundamentally wrong? A good villain is one that makes you question your own morality. That's a good villain. There are certain villains, of course, that are just batshit insane psycho and need to be put down with a bullet through the head, don't get me wrong. But then there's other villains that actually have a point. You know, the type of villains that make you go, hang on a minute. You know what I mean? Those are the really good ones. Those are the ones that stick to you, and those are the ones that we actually really appreciate. Yeah, it would mess up tides. Those are the ones I really like. And honestly, from point of view, let's flip it on its head. Are the villains in this anime not the school principal and the other kids that are effectively mini-me's of the system? Is the system of the school not the main antagonist? The very education system in this anime is the bad guy. It's sacrificing a minority to unify a majority. How is that any different from, you know... I can't even give an example that I could actually, you know, stomach, but it's effectively like, oh, I can't raise my 4 kids properly due to lack of time, so I am going to completely ignore one of my 4 kids to invest that time and resources into the other 3. So instead of giving 4 kids a decent upbringing with decent opportunity, I am going to give 3 kids a good upbringing with good opportunity and deny one of the kids everything. And that's a highly simplified thing, but that's effectively what they're doing. It sickens me. It really does sicken me. From a personal experience, because as I mentioned before, when I came here and I didn't speak English, they effectively branded me as this kid is never going to amount to anything because he can't speak the language. They treated me like I was stupid, even though I simply did not speak the language because I'd migrated and changed countries. How does that have to do anything with my intelligence? I simply was not exposed to the language for not even 6 months. And they had already abandoned any hope of educating me. I mean, f*** me, right? And then the same thing happened throughout high school. It was like, oh, this kid's scores and examination results are not as high as the other kids. He might as well drop out because, you know, he couldn't possibly digest an academic textbook and learn any sort of useful skills. Off. I mean, the education system itself is a business. It's not a system for educating kids anymore. It's run as a business to milk as much money as they possibly can. That's why the price of degrees has only gone up and the quality of education has only gone down, because it has nothing to do with educating the youth and providing them with opportunity, and has everything to do with lining the pockets of the people that are running the universities and the schools. Which is why I would always say, please take an active role in raising your kids. You can't expect schools to do it for you. Please, for the love of God, if you have kids, raise them properly. Lelouch, for an example, while protagonist, one of the best villains. I completely agree. Light Yagami, Lelouch, who else do we have that's really good? Sorry, my brain's off, but I can think of a couple of really good anime villains. I say villains, in quotation mark. Overlord Protag, I don't consider him bad at all. I consider the Overlord protagonist a human. Good stuff, good stuff. So to answer your question, I'm really enjoying this anime. More than I thought I would. On the surface, it just looks like, you know, fun in the sun, let's kill a giant octopus. But it really brings forth a really deep message and definitely inspires some very insightful conversations, and really makes you think about what's important in life. What defines a villain from an antagonist is I know someone like Maruki falls into antagonist but not villain. Yeah, well, an antagonist is someone with a different point of view, whose actions are justified in some sense, and in some sense make sense. I mean, an antagonist is basically someone with a point of view which isn't necessarily wrong, it's just sometimes misguided. You know? Something tells me you would enjoy the villains in the anime My Hero Academia because they get treated with the society. I heard of My Hero Academia. There's the big guy with the big smile that's blonde, right? I've seen the emoji, someone used it from My Hero Academia. The antagonists in Shikai are very interesting too. That's what I really like about anime. Anime are really good at pinpointing. It's probably because really good anime get recommended and bad anime just get sidelined. But I find that anime typically have better antagonists than movies or TV shows. TV shows and movies sometimes water down villains to simply, he is evil because he is evil, or he wants to destroy the world because he wants to destroy the world. Don't get me wrong, occasionally you get a good antagonist like the Joker, or, you know, Bane or something like that actually has some substance and there's actually a point of view and reasoning behind it. But most of the time you just get literally copy and paste. He's bad because he's bad, you know? For example, in Marvel, I really liked Ultron. He actually had a really good point. It's like humans and society, no matter what they do, they're edging closer and closer to self-destruction. So what I'm doing is not actually destroying the world. I'm disarming humanity in order to keep them alive. And it's kind of like, you're killing AI, but I completely understand where you're coming from. And I actually kind of agree with you. And the good guys are like, well, we must save people because that is our job. And it's like, yeah, you're saving people, but at the same time, by saving certain people, you're letting them go on a tangent and effectively start a world war. So you're saving one life, but costing 10,000 lives, but you justify it in your point of view because you saved a life. It's a little bit like Goku in Dragon Ball Z, right? He keeps letting people live that are psychopathic killers that go off and kill more people because of his point of view being, well, I don't kill people. It's like, well, I mean, by letting these motherfuckers live, you're effectively enabling them to kill more people. So in a way, your hands are dirty, you know? So this discussion come up.
Hey, did I hand you a shrinking potion by accident? I could have sworn that was the gender swapping one.
Don't be hating. She's fun size, that's all. She doesn't even have to get on her knees to blow.
You want to add anything to that conversation?
Nope, I'm good. In fact, I think your new size makes you an even more formidable and stealthy ninja.